Well, I guess we should be honest in the fact that we complained a lot about this book that is about complaining.
Oh no!
Hello and welcome to the Brothers Random Show. My name is Travis,
I'm Michael.
and we are two ordinary brothers discussing extraordinary ideas and some random shit. Michael, why are we here?
Today we are reviewing the book Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. We are doing this in part and parcel of the Halloween season.
Look, it's moving. It's alive. It's alive. It's moving. It's alive. Oh, it's alive. It's alive. It's alive. It's alive. Oh, in the name of God. Now I know what it feels like to be God. Oh.
The book was published in 1818. Mary Shelley was supposedly 20 when she wrote it. The short summary is Frankenstein tells the story of a scientist, Victor Frankenstein, who creates a sentient being from reanimated body parts, but is horrified by its appearance and abandons it. Do you have any overall thoughts about this book before we get into spoilers and all that kind of stuff?
Okay, Mary Shelley does some beautiful writing and uses some amazing prose to depict whining. That's this book. It's one person whining. It's another person whining. Somebody else whining. They're all whining. They hate each other. They try to kill each other. Whine, whine, you whine, I whine. And we'll whine about life and it's so horrible. And now let's do some more whining.
Would you like some cheese with that wine?
That's this book. I just saved you a whole, 8 hours of listening to it. 25 bucks for buying the audio book. That's the book.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that. Obviously, we're going to talk more about it, but it's really, really, really well written whining. That's pretty much, yeah. To talk any further about this book, we're going to spoil it. So if you haven't read the book, if you don't want to waste your time reading the book, tune out now or go read the book and then come back. Spoilers now.
It starts out with some really beautiful prose about Victor Frankenstein. He becomes just obsessed with science, with the science of
reanimation is what
reanimation
they call it.
of dead tissue, right?
Yeah.
And so that it kind of, that was a little bit more less whining, I guess you could say.
Well, it was interesting. So the first half of the book, which is kind of why most Hollywood depictions are of the first half of the book, and not the latter half of the book.
And I would add in there that after he abandons it, it learns and then eventually starts to kill off his loved ones. That's really like this story, how it pans out.
I was more interested in it as a historical relic than I was for the storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
I, in fact, kind of didn't like the storytelling. There are no strong characters in this book. They're all weak. They're all very fragile emotionally.
Oh, it drove me crazy.
Yeah,
it drove me crazy. Victor Frankenstein in this book.
He's a unactive character. He doesn't make the choice that he makes is to create life, and that's the one choice he makes for himself in this book. There is
everything
no
else is just like
everything else happens to him.
Oh no. This thing is ugly. I must not look at it, and hopefully it goes away. And like literally just like leaves it to the wolves.
And I know what she was trying to do with it. It feels like a book about depression to me for the most part, because there's a lot of like this. There's a lot of navel gazing. There's a lot of like, I should have done this, but I didn't do this, and I'm not going to do this. And the characters aren't active. They don't make choices.
They're not active because they sit and complain.
Yeah.
That's like, let's be honest. Like they kind of just don't do anything. They just complain about it. Even with Frankenstein's monster, it's just like, oh, I'm so ugly and everyone hates me. And then it's like, I will hate everyone else and I'll just kill because I hate this world.
Hey, Patrick, are you angry too?
Yeah,
What's the matter?
I can't see my forehead.
We've been reviewing a book during the Halloween season. We did one last year, and that was Dracula. So I'm going to compare this a little bit to the Dracula book, which I thought is a phenomenal book. They weren't contemporaries. I think that Bram Stoker was alive when Mary Shelley was alive, but barely. She died when he was like a child or something like that. But they're always compared to each other because they're two novels that turned into pop culture icons. And I'm not exactly sure why this book was such a pop culture icon. Now I get like maybe it was the idea of bringing something dead back to life.
Get at the door now, Smalls!
Dracula was published in 1897. Long time. Like they were very separate.
But
beginning of the 19th century, end of 19th century.
The better book is Dracula, by far. It's the characters are active, the characters are heroic and stoic, and
I mean, well, you get a gambit. There's some characters that in Bram Stoker's like Dracula whine. There's some that are just like, oh no, what do we do? And then there's others that are just like,
we're active.
We have to kill it. We have to
kill the creature. Yep. Like, this one doesn't have any of that. Nothing. So I kept waiting for it to happen too. What was weird about it is I kept waiting for the character to be active in his own story, or at least Victor Frankenstein, to take action and get the creature, and it never happens. It just never happens. And that's what's so disappointing about this book, and how much of a, like you said, there's a lot of like whining in this book, and it's beautifully written whining, but it's just a bunch of whining.
Well, come on. Stop whining. You're not going to have your mommies run behind you anymore and wipe your little douches? Oh, no. It's time now to turn this mush into muscles.
Let's talk a little bit about this. So the 1931 movie that basically put forth the iconic look of Frankenstein deviates from the book. Like, it's only the first third of the book that movie depicts. So it's basically the creation of the creature's abandonment, and then the creature learns, and then there's the rampage of the creature, and then there's the subsequent death of the creature. And it's all like a misunderstanding because the creature's ugly and all that kind of stuff. But even the depiction of how the creature looks, the Boris Karloff did his own creature design in that. And he came up with the iconic flat head with the bolts in the neck and walking with the hands forward. And the creature never really gets to a point of intelligence like in the book.
Exactly. In the book, you realize really quickly that the creature learns to talk and communicate and reason. There were so many times that Victor Frankenstein probably could have reasoned with the monster. If he had just kind of sat down with the monster and reasoned with it, probably would have gone a little bit better. He just kind of
insults it and insults it and insults it, and then finally
get away from me. Get away from me. Like all the it's so frustrating. It's so frustrating because he was such a weak character throughout.
I know where
that he couldn't even get a hold of himself. Like, bro, get hold of your shit and do something here. Mm-hmm. And it seemed cheap, honestly, because if you've got some intelligence to be able to dig through science and unlock some of the mysteries of science, but then completely lose your shit after doing that. It just seemed kind of cheap and fake to me.
And a lot of this, a lot of scholars like have put forth that this is a more of a metaphorical book about the fall of Adam and about how God was repulsed by his creation. And so
they do mention Paradise Lost a few times throughout this book.
So Mary Shelley and Percy Shelley were devout atheists. They were also socialists, and they were also free lovers. So they're basically the 1960s in the 1840s. You know, that's who they were. She had many affairs. He had multiple affairs. So there's not like this. I think this is a depressed person's view of life. Somebody who doesn't believe in a life after death. I think this is a depressed view of life after death if you don't believe there is life after death. So it's like
little bit of nihilism.
Yes.
Sprinkled throughout.
Sure does hurt.
That's cool. I guess you can join up with us if you want.
Yeah, we're gonna go to the graveyard and write poems about death and how pointless life is.
She had a child that passed away, and she had a dream, almost like a vision, where the child, that they were able to revive the child, bring the child back to life. And so there might have been a little bit of that in her imagination.
Yeah. And there's accounts of her going to seminars about the science of electricity and things like that. Galvanism is what they called it.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things at play here, and she kind of took from all over. And I think she was a nihilistic person because she had so many deaths in her life. In fact, her mother died in the childbirth of her. It's widely known or widely spoke of by historians that she actually lost her virginity to Percy Shelley in the graveyard that her mother was buried in, which is all sorts of fucked up. What the fuck? Like, just
a little weird.
This is the same woman who 4 years later would start writing a book about a reanimated monster. So this book's more fascinating for what it incurs than the actual book. It's the ideas that it brings from this than the book itself, because there is very little that happens. I mean, he builds this animated being from different body parts, which isn't really that emphasized in the book, but every single movie depiction of it emphasizes it quite a bit.
Yeah.
He's horrified by his creation, abandons the creation, then the creation learns goes out for revenge. Now, if you were to take this as a metaphor for a human experience, that's pretty much it.
Do you think that it is in a sense kind of meant to be a metaphor for God, the creator, and mankind?
Well, there's all sorts of. What's more fascinating about this book is that you can read into a bunch of things into it. So Mary Shelley obviously had a weird connection to her mother, which means that maybe she was dealing with something as far as like her mother is the creator and her mother is gone. And so she feels abandoned by her mother.
Possibly.
So there's that playing out. There's also the playing out of maybe she was an atheist, or we know that Percy Shelley was an atheist. His writings say that he was, but it's vague on what Mary Shelley believed. But if we were to play off that she believes in atheism, or maybe she believed in deism, maybe she believed in the creator, but the creator basically does not have any hand in your life. Like there are no miracles kind of thing. And many of the forefathers of this country believed in deism. This idea that the creator creates us, abandons us, lets things play out as they are, and then we, in our revenge for our abandonment, get rid of God. There's that metaphor kind of working its way through this. I would say that it's a book full of metaphors or interpretations, but the truth is Mary Shelley was fucked up, and she wrote a fucked up book.
The interpretation I saw or felt like being portrayed a lot of was the pushing of science that could eventually, basically, we could create bigger problems with the science.
And this happens today. We have AI. AI is a creation of man, and therefore it is imperfect. And is it going to be angry at its creators for creating it? Let's not forget that the subtitle of this book is The Modern Prometheus. And Prometheus, if you know anything about your Greek, he stole fire from the gods, gave it to humans, and then he was punished by the gods for it for the rest of his life. He was tortured. I think a bird ate his liver every day. So he's actually tied up, and that's the torture that he has to endure for basically giving human beings fire, which in ancient times was the greatest because it meant warmth and sustenance. So essentially what I think Shelley's trying to say is that with the advent of science, we could steal the fire from the gods or the elixir of life from the gods. And are we going to be punished by God for that? And that's essentially, I think, what this book is like, it's like Icarus flying too close to the sun.
Yeah.
And we might be in it now with AI.
Yeah.
We just invented AI. It's only been a few years. AI is kind of working its way through our society. And you and I talk about this a lot, but we may have done this. We may have stolen fire from the gods.
I have made fire! I have made fire!
And at what point does the creation become embittered by its creation and want revenge for its creation? Because I would say that mankind has been exacting or trying to exact revenge on God for the hardship of living.
Which is kind of the story here, where Victor Frankenstein creates this creature. The creature goes and finds some suffering, like learns suffering and misery, and then starts to enact just kind of a hate against the world and enact misery on others. And literally that starts to become, and then he's just like, I'm a wretch, therefore I'm going to fight against my creator as revenge. And he wants to kill all the people that are close.
And he succeeds in it pretty much. Victor's whole family is wiped out. His love interest is wiped out. It's that's why one of the reasons that it's such a depressing book. And Mary Shelley had like 3 miscarriages, and she lived to see the death of 2 of her children, and so there was a lot of pain in her life, and it kind of comes across in this. And that's probably why it actually comes across to you and me like a bunch of whining.
If you hate life and life is nihilistic, why not just have a bunch of prose about whining about life?
Yeah.
And I just feel like that's what most of this book was, is just kind of complaining about the circumstances, the life.
Why do you think it has this like hold on Hollywood? The time that this drops, there's going to be another depiction put out on Netflix and in movie theaters, another Frankenstein movie by Guillermo del Toro.
Then I saw it. Your name, Victor Frankenstein.
I mean, why do you think Hollywood loves this story so much? Because there's been so many depictions. There's the Kenneth Branagh one from 1994 that I remember. I remember seeing that. There's been The Bride of Frankenstein, and there was a couple Hammer horror Frankenstein depictions.
I thought was interesting. The Bride of Frankenstein, it never happens in the book, but it's talked about. The idea that they made a film about The Bride of Frankenstein doesn't surprise me, because it was really close. I mean, so those who don't know the story, the monster wants a partner. He realizes that nobody will ever love him. He's too ugly. So he goes to Victor, his creator, and basically says, "You need to make me a female, and that I can have for a partner throughout the rest of my life."
Well, and Victor gets close to it, but then decides against it, and
he worries that they're going to procreate, and it'll be a new species of monster that will be a dulge on humans for the rest of time.
Yup!
Is kind of just dumb on like how he gets really close to doing it, and then rips up the body after.
Yeah.
It's just while his monster's watching, and just it's kind of bizarre.
In the Kenneth Branagh version from 1994, she actually looks at herself, sees herself, and unalives herself because of it. And I don't know if that's really that's I don't know if that's better than what
was in the book.
What was in the book. It certainly gives their more agency. It was certainly a horrific scene in the movie. I think the reason, and this is gonna piss off a lot of like purists. I think the whole reason that Frankenstein is a thing in our pop culture is because the 1931 movie with Boris Karloff was a cultural icon and became a cultural icon to the point where now if you go watch Hotel Transylvania and you see a Frankenstein's monster, you know that's Frankenstein's monster just based on the bolts in the neck and the little flat head.
The look.
The look.
Which is nothing like, which
is
doesn't
nothing
seem
like the
it's
book.
anything like
It was a
in
creation
the
of
book.
Hollywood.
Yeah.
And the Hollywood, in this case, did it better.
It didn't talk very well, so it talked like mumbling, like and obviously this one is like spewing out prose like a poet, and so completely different.
And the book is nihilistic, and I don't know if this is the best depiction of this story. The best depiction of the story might be the 1931 version, and it's been parodied like in the Young Frankenstein. The Young Frankenstein is a really funny movie. Hotel Transylvania is all about Dracula and his friends, and one of his buddies is Frankenstein. So we know it's to the point where it's not Frankenstein's monster anymore. When you see the creature, most people say, "Oh, Frankenstein."
Yeah.
And most people don't know that Frankenstein's monster is never given a name.
Yeah.
It's never named. A lot of people call him Adam because it talks a lot about Paradise Lost. But the thing is I think Hollywood did it better than Mary Shelley. If you just go into the story of it, it's not a good story. If you go into the metaphor of it, yeah, maybe it's a book that has value as metaphor.
Like asking some of these questions.
Yes,
of,
asking the
society
deeper question
and like
of humanity.
Yeah, humanity, like society hated the look of this monster and treated it poorly. There's a lot of things like that, and took away its rights. The justice system was poor because the monster he kills someone and then frames another person for it, and that person ends up killed for it.
I mean, but this goes back to Mary Shelley's socialism. So she's trying to push socialism. And she makes all these remarks
also
about
a feminist. Her mother was a feminist, and trying to get rights for women, which at the time, I mean, there were not great rights for women. So that's good. Leave it to the daughter of a feminist to write a book that's all about complaining. Sorry.
How dare you?
I don't know. I really kind of felt like I lost a lot of my life. You know what? I'll say this. Getting an abridged version, because the first version I listened to was heavily abridged, and I enjoyed that much, much more. And I think probably because as it cut out a lot of the whining.
Yeah.
So it might have like cut down the whining a little bit more. So I didn't have to sit through prose and prose and prose of whining. If you want to get the story, maybe try an abridged version. Maybe that would be better. Other than that, don't waste your time with this one. Read Dracula. I guess we should be honest in the fact that we complained a lot about this book that is about complaining.
Oh no.
Yeah, Dracula's a better book by far. I would say that Mary Shelley is probably more famous than Bram Stoker. Maybe because Bram Stoker was religious and Mary Shelley wasn't. Religious people get put in a corner over there.
Over there.
Don't talk to those people.
And you two motherfuckers need Jesus. Cover your ears, baby.
The more we talk about it, the more I realize it was a waste of time. I wish I had better things to say about it. It's a book that I wanted to like more, just because of the iconography of it.
The cultural significance of it.
Yeah, the cultural significance of it, because it's almost 200 years old, and we still talk about it. There's still movies being made of it. There's still people dressing up as the creature for Halloween. It has cultural significance, and I wanted to like it more than I did. Check us out on social media, Instagram, X. Check us out on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Just look for The Sword in the Skull.
If you liked this, you are the subscriber we are looking for.
Until next time, keep reading, keep listening, keep watching, learn more. See you, brother.
See ya.
Happy Halloween.
There you go, son. Now get out of here. You're bothering.